My name is Kathy. I'm an alcoholic. Hi, Kathy. And it's great to be here on a Saturday morning. I do have experience with the Big Book Step Study process, and I am currently doing living amends. I've got one face-to-face amend that I'm waiting for if and when the person decides they want to receive it, but I've stopped groveling and haunting the person and just continue to pray for her every day along with others. And I do practice the latter steps on a daily basis. So just to tell you a little bit about what brought me here. Can everybody hear me okay? Yeah? Yeah, Not really? Is this on?
Hello.
Okay, I bet that makes a difference, right? Okay, so let's see. How did I get here? I went to my first AA meeting sometime in the 80s. It was a date. It was. I wasn't thinking that I was an alcoholic by no way, shape, or form. And this guy that I was seeing invited me to go to his home group meeting. And I thought, oh, that's lovely. And so I was a little bit puzzled because when we went in, like I went to one room and they went to another. And I thought, wow, that's kind of weird. And I realized after the fact that they sent me to the newcomer place, and I was sitting around the table, and all I kept remembering, what I was thinking was, I'm not going to say that. It's like people were saying they were alcoholic, and I'm like, I'm not going to say that. That's all that I was just like absolutely mortified. And I think I was stoned, and so it was like definitely, I'm like, whoa. And then, after the meeting, we never talked about it. Nothing was mentioned. That's kind of the way I operated. So, I guess he thought that maybe I had a seat there, but I wasn't quite ready for that. And then the next time I went, it was like in the 90s, and I was in another fellowship, and I was told that if I couldn't get to that particular brand of meeting, then to go to an AA meeting. And so I had gone to a noontime meeting in Gardner. And again, I felt like a square peg in a round hole. Like I just didn't feel like I belonged there, and that, people weren't like me, and that, I was kind of appalled that somebody smelled like alcohol, and, people just, again, like very judgmental and not someplace I thought that I belonged. So my next experience from probably, I'm going to say, childhood, grandparents had beer. I'd go to weddings, there'd be, like liquor on the table, and I'd always drink it. And I can remember the first time I got drunk was, I don't know, it was maybe 10 or 11, and I was at a wedding, and I went wild drinking all of the glasses of wine off the table, and then basically did a header down the stairs and ripped my pantyhose and caught the bouquet, and it was just, it was a full day as far as that went. I look back and I go, wow. There was a problem. There was definitely a problem. And, I was talking to someone the other day. It's like, we'd drink on the school bus. Somebody would bring a bottle of brandy, and we'd drink on the school bus, and we'd smoke pot in the smoking area. Isn't that where you smoke it? And, it was like first thing in the morning, I'd be in home ec and trying to sit on the stool and you know what I mean? But nobody ever said anything to me, and I never got in trouble for it. So it seemed to, it wasn't a problem because I didn't get in trouble. And so, fast forward over a period from, again, it really took off probably 8th grade, going to dances, social occasions. My primer was to get what the hell was that stuff? I don't know what it was. some kind of vodka and whatever that came in a bottle that, was like a portable thing that you'd be out in the bushes and drink it and then go to your event. So, that was kind of my MO. Like I'd drink before I went to things, and so that made me feel more comfortable. And the way it kind of manifested itself in me is I'd get like loud and, kind of rowdy and obnoxious, but I didn't think I was. I thought it was entertaining. And probably to a degree I was, so that continued from into my 20s, into my 30s, and, I was in a career that basically, was like cash tips every day. I worked with people who, we talk about things like this, that did the same kind of things that I did. You know what I mean? Like I'd be drinking at work and smoking in the back room and who's got what and going out every night and being out very late and then come in and go to work the next day. And for me, again, I mention that because I didn't think I had a problem because I kept going. You know what I mean? I had a job, I had a position, I was the boss, and it just really, to me, didn't seem to be a problem. And so it was hard for me to, to be honest with myself, really difficult. And that kind of leads into this step, which I'll get to in a minute. So 1998, I joined this fellowship that part of it was not drinking, but it was an AA, and it was like focused around losing weight. So it was like you can't drink and lose weight. So I stopped drinking then, and because I was able, this is the thinking, because I was able to stop drinking, I must not have a problem with alcohol because I stopped drinking. And so I'd look in the more about alcoholism and say, few of you could stay sober for anything like a year, and I'd be like, well, I did, you know what I mean? And so, I'd be always looking for how I didn't fit in, what made me an exclusion. So, well, that doesn't work. Or I wasn't incarcerated, I didn't get any DUIs, I got pulled over, but they let me go, and, say as long as you can drive down the end of the street, we won't pull you over, if you can make it home, that kind of stuff. So it kept going for a long time. So I stopped drinking in 1998, and I was, I could say about 4 years sober when I first came to AA, like intentionally. And, I had, I realized that I was a blackout drinker from the get-go. I knew that once I started, there wasn't stopping. I was, it's like, what's open? Where can you keep going? But I'd tell myself because I didn't get up and drink in the morning that I wasn't an alcoholic, but that wasn't even really true. You know what I mean? Like I did get up and drink in the morning. I couldn't, again, really be honest with myself. Or I smoked pot all the time. So it's like, where are you, where's the line and all of that? And I also did lots of other substances. It's pretty much like, what do you got? So I stopped drinking. I was abstinent, and I'll call it sober, for 4 years. And a friend had said, you got to listen to this person who's a, really good speaker. And so I went to a meeting, and this guy who had done this work was talking, and he was talking about the doctor's opinion and the phenomenon of craving. And I thought, what the hell is he talking about? You know what I mean? Because I'd been to big book meetings, and I don't remember hearing that part. And again, so there's something wrong up here. I think I know, but maybe I don't know, and that's again kind of leads me to this step. So I was really attracted to a few things about this process. I liked the fact that there were simple, clear directions. The first meeting that I came to, I knew somebody from my other fellowship, and she agreed to sponsor me when I asked her at the first meeting. She was like, oh no, wait for 12 or whatever some people will tell you. So she agreed to help me, and I was going to the Leominster meeting, and I was going to this meeting when it was up at St. Bernard's. And that's when I did my first and second and third step, and wrote my fourth step with this sponsor, and continued working through the fifth step with a different sponsor, and then got to this step. And what my experience with steps 6 and 7, and it is really compact, right, in the reading. So in a different way, this is my best thinking. My best thinking tells me, because it's like just 2 paragraphs, can't really be that important. You know what I mean? Or just like the doctor's opinion, I thought, well, who cares what a doctor thinks? I don't have to read that part, and I just read, like, where's the solution? Where's the solution? So with this part, the instructions that I was given was to, after I completed my fifth step, to read this, and it says first, if we answer to our satisfaction. So it's like we're answering the page before, reading the first 5 proposals. We asked if we have omitted anything, for we're building an arch through which we shall walk a free man at last. So that's the first 5 steps. Is our work solid so far? So again, here I am asking myself questions, which I'm already at a disadvantage because, again, my perception isn't, really exactly clear all the time when it comes to looking at myself and my behavior. So, when I was answering these questions, it seemed to me like I really was thorough as I could be, and I had omitted something, and I went back and told the sponsor, and, that was all well and good, and continued on, and I was doing the daily disciplines of, doing the morning prayer and meditation, and throughout the day, and at the end of the day, and I was beginning to sponsor people as soon as, it felt like as soon as I raised my hand, but again, this is my perception. People flooded me to ask me to sponsor them. They really did. But I remember thinking, oh shit, you know what I mean? What? And the good thing is you just give people the directions you were given, you know what I mean? And you have a brand sponsor, so it's not like I have to figure anything out or be like your clinician or something, that's a different role. I'm not there to advise you. I'm here just to give you the directions that I was given. Okay, I can do that. And so basically asking ourselves those questions. And then this is the tricky part. So are we now ready to let God remove from us all the things which we have admitted are objectionable? This is like a really fluid step in the sense that, and my experience with this work is that it's definitely one of these processes that the learning is kind of in retrospect or in hindsight, and so when you look back, you're like, oh yeah, I can see that now, but when you're in the mix of it, I don't necessarily see it 100%. So, that question right there, it's like, okay, I can see where you could get really hung up on, well, what is objectionable and what isn't objectionable? And are you going to go into remorse and self-loathing and do an inventory of your grosser handicaps? That's really not the point of this. The point is, and this is the point is to get to a state of readiness where you're prepared and offering all of you. And this has probably been the most, I want to say the most meaningful thing that I could really, take away from all of this work. The one thing that I know for sure is that it's not up to me to figure out what's really good about Cathy and what's not so good about Cathy, and what character defects or need to get chopped off, and what kind of things need to be cultivated, because I don't have a clue about that. I really don't. And it's not that I don't have moments of clarity and sanity. It's really genuinely that I'm not God, and not for one moment do I propose that I know what God's got planned for me and how God's going to use, like it could be, like one could say, character defect of not being punctual could be an issue you might want to fork over. Well, maybe that's useful in some way to God. You know what I mean? So I just have to, on a daily basis, and this really is my work on a daily basis, to cultivate this willingness. That's really step 6, is the willingness to offer myself. And so how I do that, and they, give you lots of prayers in here. So they give you a prayer. And so here's the, suggested script you can play with. It's like, my Creator, I am now willing that you should have all of me, good and bad. I pray that you now remove from me every single defect of character which stands in the way of my usefulness to you and my fellows. Now, there's a little hint there. It's not that stands in the way of me getting what I want. You know what I mean? Like, give me that thing I want. Now, it's how can I be useful to you, God, and them? That's really not my first way of thinking. It's come to something that's been cultivated over the years, that initially it was really out of self-seeking to realize, okay, well, if I'm helping someone else, I get help too. So I want to help because guess why? I get help too. You know what I mean? Like, that was my initial motivation, where now it really does have more to do about altruism and looking and finding love, for others as far as that goes, because, we are all truly connected in that way. So, I ask God to, basically this is what I say. I say, I do my morning rituals, if you will. I say some prayers, I pray for others, and, I spend some quiet time just seeing what's kind of dancing across the horizon, so to speak, and give some attention to that. And then I'll just say, here I am, God, sometimes I'll sing and sometimes I'll just talk, and, I don't have to, dress it up in any particular way, but it's basically, here I am, bring it. Whatever you got for me today, I'm game, and I just pray that I'll be aware of it. You know what I mean? Because again, things come up, things crop up, and I might not notice something or an opportunity that comes across. You know what I mean? Because again, if I'm not focused on that, or if I'm focused on, oh my God, I'm such a loser, and geez, I X, Y, and Z, that's really not helpful to anybody. It's really not. Kind of slipping into this morbid reflection, because I think we all can do that, and sometimes our default is depressed, kind of this depressed posture. So in this particular step, it says, okay, well, if you can say that, then you've completed step 7. Well, that's really, again, kind of a tricky thing, because all of the steps, this is one of my pet peeves. Here it comes. People say, oh, I completed the steps, and I did the process, and I'm on the other side of it, and blah, blah, blah. The steps are a way of living, and we're never completed. It's a work in progress. I may have done step 1, but believe you me, I'm going to have another one to do. Whether you do it in a formal way or whether you're doing it in a practice, I have to recognize, my life is unmanageable, and that, a power greater than myself can, save me from, whatever it is that's coming my way. And so basically, I have found this particular step 6 and 7, and the 7th step prayer in particular. I used to really focus on the 3rd step prayer. I don't think with any of the prayers, and this is just my belief, with the God of my understanding, like they say with the third step, the wording's optional. I don't think it really matters exactly what the words are that you're saying. I think it's the intention from your heart. So like if you don't know what to say, and in my belief system, it's like I believe that we have a spirit, and that spirit really does intercede for us when we don't know what to say or how to pray. But I think that the real benefit for me of steps 6 and 7 is it's a continuing, it's a daily step, and it's one that is specifically aimed at, okay, just for today, like from right here, right now, I am available, God, you can have all of me. Because the flip side of that is, well, you can have everything except my problem with shopping. You know what I mean? Or you can have everything except my, I got a whole laundry list of problems just like anybody else. So if I try to hold on to this little area, or I've got this little trick that I've got going that, is like a nice little escape, but I'm gonna eventually get really stung by all of that. So I have to be willing to just like put it all on the table. And again, for me, like I try not to label it like good or bad, because I know there's a mixture, and I think we all have a variety. Nobody's all good or all bad as far as that goes. It's just, this is where I'm at. This is what I have to offer, and I'm game. I'm open to, doing what I can to be of service today. So I look forward to hearing from all of you. That's it.